beauty of this month lies in the way people, irrespective practicing or non-practicing, the way people embrace the changes that's happening, be it the surrounds, be it within self. Yes, indeed, I'm talking about the whole shift that goes through in our body. So here we are on this segment of Ramadan Conversations going to discuss the fasting equation from a doctor's perspective. So we have with us Dr. Hajira Beegum from King's Health Hospital, an internal medicine specialist. Dr. Hajira, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Raji. Thank you so much for having me with you. And Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem to you too. So as I said, Doctor, fasting is one of the major things that we all discuss, witness, do during Ramadan. That's the first thing that comes in our mind. Keeping aside the spiritual aspect, let's talk about the physical aspect. What are the physiological changes that one should be aware of when you suddenly shift into the fasting mode? The changes the body undergoes. Let's begin on that.
Yes. As you said already, fasting, it's a beautiful concept. And Ramadan is a month of mercy and blessings.
Yes.
And especially in the health perspective, let me talk about that. So when you fast in Ramadan, it's most important because it brings a fascinating changes in your body's metabolism. So it occurs at the metabolic level, at the cellular level, and even in mental health, you see there's a lot of changes. When we talk about metabolic changes, the first and foremost is in fasting, first there is a shift in the use of fuel. Initially, we start with the glucose metabolism, and that shifts to the fat metabolism. So that's a fantastic concept which starts. And in this, what happens is stored fat is metabolized. And when that is metabolized and it gets converted into ketones, it's an excellent source for energy. And with this, what's the change that occurs in our body is the ketones is used up. And so the fat is metabolized. So there is a reduced insulin resistance. So our body, there's an improvement in the glucose metabolism. And of course, we lose weight, which we always look for. And also, it brings about a lot of change in your lipid profile also. So if you see, especially we want to convey that during fasting, the changes that occurs, it helps in preventing a lot of other lifestyle diseases like obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and metabolic syndrome. When you do your tests after Ramadan, you see the lipid profiles. There's a change in your LDL, the bad cholesterol, that drops down, the triglycerides drop down, your sugars are well under control. And also, if you check your blood pressure, there's a modest reduction in the blood pressure. So all these factors with fasting, so it is definitely a fascinating change and it improves your health. And along with that, there is also an interesting thing which happens during fasting. There is a mechanism called autophagy. So autophagy. What happens is the damaged cells and the components are cleared when you're fasting. So, and then there's a regeneration of new cells. So that tends to reduce the inflammation and improves the immune response of your body. So all this put together, this physiological benefits, it's quite a lot with fasting.
I was like just listening to the science. The science is so beautiful, just like how the spirituality of the month is, right? The body responds, and the wonderful thing that everybody, I'm sure, would have heard from you is weight reduction.
Everybody's shy. Everyone loves that. And they do it for that purpose. Most of them mix it up with the spiritual concept. Their target is they want to lose weight.
Doctor, yes, for the non-practicing ones, this could be a right time to do some exercise like that, alongside as like people like me, along with colleagues. We also practice, kind of refraining from. That's also a good way of looking at it. Like for the practicing ones, yes, it's true.
The practicing and the non-practicing, it's absolutely fantastic because you also get into the mood of Ramadan, and it's so wonderful because you also realize that it gives you a sense of well-being, and you get to feel, and it creates a friendly environment along with you trying to get into the spirit of Ramadan. It's so wonderful. But what I would say again, the concept is they just for the non-practicing Muslims or for the non-practicing people, what they do is they just fast.
Yeah.
That is not the thing. So fasting in Ramadan is basically what we do is the discipline that we develop. And that goes a long way. This whole month is basically a month of control. You don't only control your control to eat and drink, smoking, you control your desires, and you have a lot of control over your thoughts and your emotions, how you interact with other. It's wonderful experience. For those who are not practicing, what I want to say is they don't, for us, the most important meal is suhoor. It gives the fuel for the whole day. So we do that, we take it. And you just, you also wanted to get into the mood. You may not take that. So you may not actually enjoy the real spirit of it, because once your glucose drops down, the next thing you will have mood swings. The blood sugar drops down. That's what we call the spikes and crashes. That causes the mood swings. And so, in case you just want to enjoy the month of Ramadan with your colleagues, always try to have a suhoor, at least a late night meal, so that it helps you throughout the day. Enjoy it and get the health benefits also.
Science beautifully explained, doctor. Now we come to this question of mine, which is very important, the chronic patients, There is always this tug of war, people who want to practice from the spiritual angle, and at the same time their health conditions may not be positive or fair to do fasting. What would be your advice to such the bracket of people there?
This is an excellent question which I want to share with everybody, but especially those with chronic conditions. They go through a lot of dilemma. They are, they want to fast and they want to get into it. They want to get the benefits because this is a month of mercy and blessings, as I told you. So they want to enjoy it. But in Islam, in the Quran, Allah has said, if you have any health conditions and fasting can compromise and make you sick and unwell, then you have an exemption. So that's called fidya. You can feed a needy person. So you don't have to, you don't have to feel guilty about it because it's all from Allah. Allah says, I want everything to be easy for you. It's us. We make it difficult. We make it quite complicated. That's the word. So exemption is there. So if you're very sick and you're not able to do it, just don't worry. Just do fidya. That's important. The other thing I want to say is, when you have any chronic conditions, first and foremost, have a pre-Ramadan assessment. So that should be done 1 to 2 months before. You see your physician who will discuss what is the condition. Because usually when the patients come, we have a risk stratification. Whether you are in the high risk, moderate risk, low risk. So according to that, we decide whether you are okay and fine to go ahead with fasting. Then we look at the medications that they have and we adjust the dosage and the timing. Because during Ramadan, especially let's talk about diabetes. Quite common here. When you talk about that, what exactly happens? The risk, you can have hypoglycemia, which is low sugars or high sugars, dehydration, and emergencies like diabetic ketoacidosis. So these things in mind, if you don't discuss and adjust your timings, then it's a big issue. And here I want to stress, especially in diabetes, and generally also in fasting, it's okay to get your blood test done. It doesn't break your fast too. So I don't know what people getting concerned about. They don't let us do it. They say, oh, it breaks my fast. It doesn't. So, and especially in diabetes, you have to be sure whether you are having any hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. So you can check your sugars at home. And if you're unwell, so you have to check your sugars. And if it is low, like less than 70 or more than 300, or you're feeling quite restless and unwell, you can break the fast. You don't need to be guilty about it because it is an exemption again from Allah, so that you can do that. So doing your blood test and your home blood glucose monitoring is a fantastic way to practice, especially for the diabetes. And again, as I stressed, most important is suhoor. It is the fuel for the day. Don't skip it at any way. And medications, please discuss with your physician, because especially medicines like insulin and dimicron, sulfonylureas, it drops your sugar. So there should be a change. So when you discuss with us, what we do, we shift your medicines, the morning medicines, to futur, that is iftar. so that you have a non-fasting period. So even if there is a drop, you can have something to bring up your blood sugars. And there are other medications like, the latest medicines like Jardiance and Forxiga we have and Pagliflozins. They can cause dehydration. Even that we would suggest you take it in iftar so you have time to hydrate yourself. So main thing is don't skip your medicines. Discuss with your physicians. And other conditions like thyroid, I wanted to tell, because especially I've seen lots of patients skipping their medications for the whole month. This is what we don't want them to do because usually when you get up, you eat. You forget your tablet and they are just okay, nothing happens. But the timing is important. You can have half an hour before suhoor or bedtime, at least give a gap of 3 hours after your iftar, you can take that medicines. And talking about hypertension, don't skip your tablets. Don't ever skip your tablets. Take enough fluids, at least 2 to 3 liters. Avoid and restrict salts and take a lot of potassium-rich foods. Your blood pressure will be fantastic.
Great. So as you said, God is merciful and He will not put us through anything which we cannot, isn't it? So that understanding combined beautifully with a scientific explanation. Thank you, Doctor. As we come to the close, I would want you to take us through the things that one should bear in mind when you're doing the fasting. The risks as to how to do it wise and how to do it scientifically. The whole fasting process.
The whole fasting process, again, as I stressed before, which suhoor is important, is so very important. We did not discuss about the nutritional strategies that will help you carry through that. So suhoor, very, very important. What to eat in suhoor is also very important because I would say that, you need energy, slow release energy throughout the day. So you need to be very intermittent and careful what you have in suhoor or in iftar. So basically, I would suggest go for complex carbohydrates, which are with a low glycemic index. So they don't digest very fast. So that doesn't affect your blood sugar to go up, spikes and crashes. That's not there. So you can be having a very smooth fast. With the complex carbs like oats and whole grains and legumes, along with that, healthy proteins, healthy fats like chicken and fish, and yogurt is also a good thing. Also add dates because that gives sugar and it releases very slowly with potassium. So that helps you to carry out the day beautifully. So that is one thing. And iftar, don't try to eat everything that's there. Keep it in smaller portions. Because, we see patients who come back with gastritis, bloating, belching. Don't make it that way. Be very gentle on your stomach also. And take smaller portions and open with dates and water. And again, the same complex carbs with protein. And avoid any processed or refined foods. Avoid all these sugary things because what it does, it causes your blood sugar to spike to such a level and you have that fatigue. You see people after iftar, then they just want to lie down. So this can be prevented if you go and take it slow with this. And most important, I want to stress is when this month you can give up smoking, just give it up for life. That's take care of your.
We will have many beginnings, and as you said, it's all about disciplining oneself. That's a good advice. Let's hope the world outside is attentive to that. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So that was the whole fasting equation. Put it right from a science perspective, from a doctor's perspective. Dr. Hajira Beegum was with us on Ramadan Conversations, only on the 973 show.